Since leaving my painful 9 to 5, I've gone on to build a business that makes me 10 to 12K per month, allowing me complete freedom to travel whenever I want without ever asking for time off. And in this video, I'm going to explain the journey that I went on to reach this point so that you can go on this journey yourself. Wasn't always traveling and making content. Coming out of university, landed a tech sales job. Exactly the kind of job everyone told me I should want. I never really checked with myself even if I wanted to do that. I didn't know if I wanted to just have a job my whole life. And the excitement for this job wore off super quick for me. Like I fell into the rhythm of corporate life and I just was like, oh, what? You know, people in meetings were just real passionate about this like company and the culture and stuff and targets and forecasts, and I'm just like, are we joking here? Is this like, is everyone having a laugh and we're all just pretending to think this is interesting? You know, and I'm not saying that to make fun of people. That was genuinely what was going through my head. What scared me wasn't necessarily doing the work. It was just the idea of doing the work for the rest of my life, you know? It was the same thing every day, every week, year after year, and then having to be beholden to someone else's calendar. Like I just hated pretending to be enthusiastic and a part of this thing that it just meant nothing to me. So I went backpacking, saved up 25 grand, quit the job, went to Africa, Asia, and Australia on a one-way ticket and traveled for 17 months, met so many amazing people. And it was my first true taste, like true taste of what freedom was. Like real freedom, nothing like this I'd ever experienced in my life. As the months went on anyway, the freedom itself kind of got clouded by the reality that shit, I've got no income, I have no money. And what I had to do then was basically just hit pause on the whole thing and get a sales job again. But I told myself it was, look, just 1 year. Before I knew it, 2 years had passed, 2. And the pandemic came and went. I was still in a sales job, still comfortable, but just nowhere close to being satisfied or free in my life. And so I moved to London. Big change. I thought doing this, changing my environment would change me and ultimately change my outcomes and my results and my options in life. And it didn't at all. I just got another sales job. If you've ever been in London, you'll know what a stuffy, sweaty, packed London Underground tube feels like, especially at 7:30 in the morning. Everyone's just on their phone, looking down, miserable. And I'm on the way in to just do another day and another year and another job that I just don't give a slightest care about in the world. And I just think, what am I doing? What am I really doing? And so anyway, another year just disappeared in London, you know, and I felt miles away from the version of me who was booking trips on a day's notice and working on things that I'm actually interested in and that are mine. And that was until a friend mentioned property, you know, as a way to build cash flow that would remove the need to rely on a job for money. And so I was desperate and I went to the event and listened to all the ways you can make money in property. And even still, right, when I was presented with the solution, I was presented with a clear solution and it was in my face. Here it is, property, I can use this. And I still didn't back myself. I still was thinking of all the reasons why I can't do this. And this is normal, you know, we all just do this. We want to stay comfortable. But I just thought to myself, like, if I don't do this now, when am I going to do it? When's this going to happen? Like I've sat on the fence for years now. Years I've been sitting on the fence. And so I took a deep breath, swallowed my pride, swallowed my fear, and ended up putting 15,000 pounds on a course and a group mentorship, not even one-to-one, group mentorship. And it worked. You know, being around other people who could help me ignited something in me that I'd been missing the whole time, which is just belief, man. Belief. I started to think, okay, maybe this is possible for me. Maybe I can do this. And anyway, at this point I was all in, you know, because once you put your chips on the table, something inside you just changes in an instant. Everything's going to matter just so much more. Anyway, I was thinking I'll get 6 profitable Airbnb properties, investment Airbnb properties in 6 months. That's what I was thinking I'll do, and I'll replace my income. I'm never going to work in sales again, and that was the plan. But things don't always go to plan. And in this case, I was 7 months in. I had 2 investment deals. Make that even worse, I got fired from my job, my sales job. That was my cash flow engine. I got fired for working too much on the business, getting these 2 shitty investment deals that I got. And so I was now £40,000 in debt with no income. And it was my fault. It was my fault. I rushed into the deals I shouldn't have. I did so without real guidance or certainty. And I remember like walking down the road, faced with the reality of the fact that I had lost all that money and I now have no job. And I can either get a new job, go back with my tail between my legs and gradually claw the business back, however long that's going to take, or I double down and I go all in right now in this moment and decide to commit, fully commit, and to change my life. And in that moment, I said, okay, now it's serious. Let's go. And so I spoke to some people who'd taken the same course as me. They weren't all 40K down like me, but they started to manage properties instead for landlords as a service. So in that way, they don't have to rent them and take all the risk like I was doing. They just provide a service to property owners, no debt, no risk, and just cash flow, just like actual cash flow, which is all I really wanted to build the freedom I wanted. So I decided to do the same, and that's when things took a real big turn for me. I unknowingly started running what I'm now calling the freedom flywheel, which is service sales system. Designing a simple service, which in my case was managing Airbnb properties for landlords, having a sales system, which came quite naturally to me because I'd been in sales for many years and closing landlords was far less complex than closing large corporations. And once I had deals, then I began to systemize. So systemize is the last part of that flywheel. And I began systemizing everything so the business could function with minimal input from me. And anyway, when I kept running that flywheel, within 12 months, I'd clawed back all of that 40K. I replaced all of my sales salary and built a business that consistently makes 10 to 12,000 pounds per month without me in the day-to-day at all. And working on my own business is like a video game, honestly. Solving the problems I need to solve, trying to make the jigsaw fit together. It's different to a job. You know, I'm waking up with a fire under me every day, and I started to feel a purpose like I hadn't quite felt when I was working for someone else. And you know, you'll know this if you've ever built your own thing. It's quite an amazing feeling. And you know, I do want to see the business model that I run. I have a video in the description below where I kind of do a little bit more of a tactical run through of how that business looks if you want to get a bit more of an understanding of how that all fits together. But at this point, the real win in the story there wasn't really the money that I was getting. It was actually just the feeling I had. And the feeling was that I'm now unrestricted. I can do anything I want. And this was an amazing thing to start to step into. And since I clawed all that money back, in the past 18 months since then, I've been traveling more than I ever have without ever asking for time off. I come and go as I please. I work whenever I want. Right now I'm in Bali while the business is ticking over in the UK. I've been here for 3 months, haven't been back to the UK once. And I have the ability to book a solo van trip to the mountains on a Tuesday without anyone asking. And I did this. I did this a few months ago. I booked a van and shut off all contact from everyone in Slack and WhatsApp and Gmail, everything, like nothing, don't talk to me. And I went away for a week into the mountains alone, something I'd never done before. And I can do that now. I can make my own decisions at any point of any day. I can do as I please. And it is as good as you think it is. And not only that, like I'm excited to work when I do work because I'm building something that's mine. Like this is what I wanted. I wanted to just have my own thing. And, you know, I'm not going to be on private jets all the time or doing crazy activities all the time. It's not about that. It's about just being in control of my life. And that's what I got. And with the freedom anyway, like I started to share my journey publicly, first with a podcast. The Work Worth Doing podcast was aimed to help people to try and find work that really matters to them. In a 9-to-5, when I was doing work for someone else, it meant nothing to me. It wasn't fulfilling my life or my dreams, and it was pointless to me. And so that's what the podcast was for. I started to mentor people as well, you know, and it wasn't about being a guru or being famous or anything like that. It was honestly quite deep for me, you know. It's deeper than that. Like, I felt compelled to share the life that I'd carved out for myself with anyone who was stuck and needed the same belief that I once lacked. Up to about 1 year into that now, almost about 11 months. Mentoring has been another big part of it, like helping a smaller subset of people to just build the exact same Airbnb business I have, like follow the exact blueprint I have, copy this and get out your 9 to 5 and just build your own thing. And I've done that with Jack. You know, we've been working together for a few months now, implemented the systems, the sales, the processes, and he's literally one deal away from quitting his job. One deal. So this does work. You know, like any business, it's obviously hard and requires work, but if you want the life it gives, it's a very, very small trade-off. And like I said, if you want to go in and have a little bit of a deeper dive into the business that I run, the video is below. You can just go click that, have a watch, see if it's something that you would like to learn a little bit more about. I explain it in that video. If you're like me, you know, you're in that place, you're feeling really restricted, you're comfortable, but you're stuck. I do understand how you feel. I really, really do. And I also doubted myself. I had no conviction or belief in myself too. But looking back, I honestly wish I knew how accessible this was. And it just started from that one decision I made at the event I went to, when the solution to my pain was just waved in front of my face. And even though I didn't want to do it, even though I felt scared, I made the decision. I decided to commit. And that decision in that moment has changed absolutely everything.